Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm going to walk you guys through how I go about writing riffs on a baritone guitar. Let's get into it. So what is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. My name's Ray. I'm a guitar player here on YouTube, and I wanted to create this video to kind of let you guys get into my weird kind of silly brain as to like what's my philosophy, what's my approach, and just my overall just kind of attacking point when I'm starting to sit down and be like, all right, it's time to write a riff. Where do I start? What do I think about? And, all the above, right? Real quick, I just want to say, if you have any questions or anything is confusing or puzzling throughout the duration of this video, be sure to ask your questions down below in the comments, and I'll do my very best to answer them and help, you out and, have a nice discussion, okay? Yeah, so that's all I ask. If you have a question, just leave it down below, and we'll mix it up, all right? So let's not waste any time. Let's get on into it. So honestly, guys, don't be alarmed, but the main thing that I use when writing baritone riffs is music theory. I know, don't click off, don't freak out. This video is going to deal with some music theory, some basic music theory ideas and comprehension, and it all has to deal with intervals. Intervals in music theory, music, whatever you want to call it, is just the distance between, one note to the next in the most simplest form, okay? And just to give you guys an example, a lot of my intervals and a lot of my riffs deal kind of like, well, I shouldn't say kind of, they start in and or around the octave, whatever the lowest string I'm tuned to is. Okay, so for example, I'm tuned to drop G right now, this Gretsch baritone. So open G, and then the 12th fret, that's an octave. And I think 99% of us watching this video probably know that. Also too, 12 to 12, G to G is also an octave. So those are a lot of my starting points. Or I should say that is my starting point when writing a lot of my riffs. And the reason being is I, for whatever reason, over time kind of subconsciously thought to start writing riffs past the 12th fret. I found myself pondering the question of why do I always do that? Because, over time, since I've been playing baritones religiously pretty much for the better part of a year and a half, I've certainly developed a style, and many of you guys in the comments section and on Instagram or wherever have pointed that out. And it's so humbling that I even have a style and you guys pick up on what I do. It's kind of crazy where I'm starting to develop my own lane and my own niche on my riff writing. So it's really crazy how I'm doing something that you guys are pointing out. So getting to it, why do I start on the 12th fret and up and play all this kind of silly that is such a me riff or whatever. It's but why do I do that? Well, the reason why is because I think it's because the stigma and the negative connotation with baritone guitars is you hear a lot of a certain type of demographic say oh, baritones, why don't you just get a bass, tune down to that drop F, drop Z, those comments. So I think over time, started out subconsciously, now it's rather consciously, it's well, what are you going to say when I start playing past the 12th fret, past this G? That's not that lower timbre, that's kind of a higher timbre and higher in pitch. And that's kind of where my brain likes to go, because I love creating the dichotomy of these riffs matched with the low string, for example, the low G. So for example, another riff that I love that hasn't seen the light of day yet, but I play it all the time, is something like this. That is way up on 15, 17, and 19, way up here on the fretboard. So I am not purposely trying to do the cliche, quote unquote, metal thing of playing the binary riffs of open 1. Don't get me wrong, I love that stuff. I do that a lot too. But, when it's, like I said, when it's my turn to create a fun, catchy, groovy riff, I always start here. And it's to kind of get away of the stigma of playing the low heavy chugs, and it just has has a cool unique sound. When I was playing with my old band, we were playing in drop F, and kind of playing that riff that I just played about 5 minutes ago, this one. Like, that is so cool, man. That is so fun to play. So yeah, I just love that sound. And I just love playing past the octave of whatever you're tuned to. Now, getting into some intervals again. There's several intervals that I like to play that really just have like the heavy sound. I just really dig it. And there's 3 I'll point out right now. It's minor ninth, minor sixth, and minor second. Again, sticking to this song. The song is called Inevitable with my old band. Minor ninth is just a half step up from the octave. It's a compound interval. Just a real quick definition of a compound interval. It's an interval past an octave. Simple intervals are unison to a perfect octave. Anything past your first octave is a compound interval. So a minor ninth is literally just a minor second, 1 octave higher. You know, that might be confusing to some. But regardless, minor ninth is just right here in relationship to this note right here. That sounds, you know, wild. It sounds haunting as hell because, you know, the tonality of that interval is. So just to recap, here's an octave. Go up a half step. And then throw in the lowest note that you're tuned to. Now we have something really heavy sounding. So again, doing that riff. Sounds killer, right? Next interval I really like is a minor sixth. So similar to how a perfect octave and minor ninth are just 1 half step apart, a perfect fifth and a minor sixth are just 1 half step apart. So what is a perfect fifth? Well, it's a power chord. That's why drop tunings are so desirable for me, because you can create a power chord with 1 finger. So root perfect fifth. That's your power chord. Scoot it up a half step. Now you got root minor sixth. Again, more dissonance, man. And then just to fill out the third one I said, remember how I said there was 3? The third one is a minor second. And the minor second is arguably the most common in metal. You know, it's a blanket statement, but it's one of the most. And all it is just a half step up from where you start. So let's say I start here. That's a minor second. It's the Jaws theme. So I mean, like, Walk from Pantera is literally just a minor second with a little bit of a kind of a cheeky little bend there, you know what I mean? So yeah, minor second, just, you know, like I said, it's one of the most common ones. So also too, that's also a minor second. Because that's literally just, but anyway, getting a little off topic here. I'm just getting excited. A minor second, again, using that inevitable riff. Just sounds cool, man. Another one here. I'll just do the riff that I did for the demo of this guitar. The riff goes like this. It's very similar. I rip off my own riffs all the time. It just goes like this. You know, all that is just open to octave, and then now the minor ninth in relationship to this note. This is actually a major ninth, so now this is a minor 10th, which is a minor 3rd. Another kind of somber interval. I'm just walking that down. So again, all I'm trying to do there is just find the dissonant, nasty intervals from my starting point, which is, here, generally speaking, a lot of the time on the 12th fret. So put them together. Can't put those together because they're on the same string, but they just sound nasty. And if you do that in the lower register, I mean, that sounds really gross. So I try to get away from that and just put it up an octave higher. Does that make sense? Next thing I think about is the overall tempo and, just feel and groove of my riffs. I have it, again, I'm very, I guess, lucky or humbled to say that you guys hear a certain type of riff from me, and I kind of create a lot of the same styles. And they all kind of land around the 150, 160, 140 range. Because like 120 is like, generally speaking, it might be a little faster or slower, but like a little bit faster, like a bap, 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 bap. I mean, just ballparking right there, that's like 150 to 170, I would guess. But like, I love that feeling, doom, doom, da, doom, 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 da, because, put that to like, another one of my riffs I wrote, but that's like at 160 when we recorded it. So it just has that feel, it has that bounce, it has that this is what I'm doing in my head. I'm just feeling it, you know what I mean? I'm going for it. I'm vibing with it. I don't ever really create thrashy riffs. I very rarely ever do. And if I do, I can't say that they're some of my favorite. And I think what's great about a baritone is because of the lower pitch, the lower timbre, the lower frequencies of the strings themselves, it takes a while for the sound to build up. But because of the lower tuning, the lower strings, in my opinion, I think what sounds better is like letting the songs and letting the riffs breathe and creating space and creating, this accordion feel of like, letting things kind of swell in and out of like cool stuff. And I really think it's because of like the lower tuning and the lower pitch of the strings. It takes a while for like low end to build up, and it's, I don't know, it's just like it's hard to explain. It's like low end takes a little bit longer to build up compared to like, higher pitched anything in music, and it has to deal with like the frequencies. Lower frequencies waver at a much slower rate compared to like, higher notes. But anyway, I just love letting riffs breathe, and I love letting songs breathe and like creating just a lot of space, like this silly riff that I did for the demo. I mean, what is that? I mean, that is so simple, like this part right here especially. Nothing's going on for, it's only like a fraction of a second, but I'm not doing, for the entire riff. I'm letting it bounce, I'm letting it breathe, and I'm letting it kind of just build up a little bit, creating space, you know what I mean? That's really big in like jazz, and it's something that I learned from jazz musicians is like letting it breathe, letting it let the song develop, let the riff develop, let the solo develop. You ain't got to just shred the whole time. So that's something that I've taken into like my own playing. It's like I really just like to let things kind of breathe and let it bounce and let it swell and build up for a second. And that's pretty much it, man. It ain't too crazy, you know what I mean? It's just like keep it at like a mid-tempo, like 140 to 170. Use your minor ninths, your minor seconds, your minor sixes, your tritones if you want, major sevenths. That's a good one too in terms of dissonance. Use all the dissonant intervals. And just have fun, man. Just let it bounce, let it breathe. And you ain't got to chug all the time for it to be heavy. You can let something breathe a little bit. Yeah, that's just how I choose to write things on a baritone, man. That's just kind of like where my head's at. I don't know if that made any sense, but that's where my head's at, and that's what I'm thinking about. So everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions about anything, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm going to do my very best to answer the questions, and we'll have a nice discussion about music theory and about writing and, you know, all the above, okay? So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you're brand new to my channel, you want to consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching one more time. I am out of here. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay metal. I'll see you guys next time. Later.